Wow, so here we are. I should have made this video a long time ago, but I wasn't emotionally ready to do so. So, life update, I am not in Japan anymore. I have left Japan for good, maybe, I don't know, we never know these things. I left Japan exactly 3 months ago, in fact. I left April 1st. April 1st was my last day in Japan. And let me tell you, it's just been an emotional roller coaster since then, even before leaving. And that's why it took me so long to make this video, because everything has just been up in the air for me. So first, as you can see, I'm in my room in Jamaica. I'm back home, and I've just spent the last 3 months basically hanging out, being on long vacation, as my friends back home in Japan say. Oh, long vacation. Because honestly, I'm not where I was supposed to be at this time, and I'll get into that a little more in details. So I'm here in Jamaica, and you're probably wondering, why did this girl, who every video she's talking about how much she loves Japan and how Japan is amazing, why did she leave Japan? And it's a very simple answer. I wanted to be closer to my family. If you've noticed, I only get to visit home, Jamaica, once a year, and I don't think I've ever talked about it, but it's actually very expensive. It usually costs me about 160,000 Japanese yen, or 1,700 US dollars to get home. Or so much? No, like more like 1,500 US dollars to get home. And so in case of emergency, if something happened to someone, one of my loved ones back home, it would be difficult for me to get here quickly. And so that was kind of causing me to have slight anxiety and a few panic attacks. So I was like, I had to make a decision to come back home or somewhere closer to home. And so I made that decision, I think, around this time last year, about a year ago, and I've just been doing everything to put everything in motion to do that. So that's why I left Japan. My heart didn't want to leave Japan. I am absolutely obsessed with I was obsessed with the life I had back then. It was an amazing life, and I hope that after this video I can go into details and talk more about my experience in Japan, now that I'm not really restricted by the content that I can produce. For example, I can finally talk about who I worked with in Japan, the company I worked with, Interac. I can tell you about my experience with Interac. Great experience, spoiler alert. And I can tell you about my experience living in countryside and how it has changed me. But yeah, unfortunately now I'm back in Jamaica, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not where I wanted to be, because the whole reason why I left Jamaica initially was because there weren't that many job opportunities. So my intention was to actually move to Canada, and I went through the whole process, the federal skilled work express entry process, which I will make lots of videos about if I'm successful with it. And I started that process in Japan, which actually happened around the same time I was planning for my surgery. So my last 6 months in Japan were actually quite hectic and very crazy, and I don't know how I survived, but that process I thought would have been completed by now. So usually it's a 6-month process, application process. No, sorry. Before that, it's about 2 months preparation and then 6 months waiting, usually. But unfortunately, I'm a part of the 28% that are harder cases. And I think it's probably because I applied in Japan and translation issues and banking issues I had. But I'll explain that in other videos, because this one is just an update. I'm going to talk about my experience, closing down my life in Japan before I left in other videos too, but I just wanted to say I'm not in Japan anymore. And it's been 3 months exactly, and I really should have made this video sooner, but I wasn't in the emotional state to do it, because every single time I thought about Japan, when I first got back, I'd feel like I don't want to say depressed, I'd feel really sad and wonder if I made the worst decision of my life. But I didn't. I think it was time to go, and I can always visit. So At the moment, I've just been doing odd jobs, volunteering. For June, I was volunteering as a teacher's assistant at an after school program in Rosetown, and that was amazing. And I also volunteered at Green Expo with NEPA, which is a National Environmental Planning Agency in Jamaica. And that was another great experience because for me, I want to get back into the field. I'm not actually a trained teacher, even though I was teaching in Japan. I'm a natural teacher. Apparently, I've learned this over the past couple of years, but I'm not trained. I'm actually trained professionally for natural resources management, so I want to get back into that field. It's kind of difficult to do here, but hopefully I can do it in Canada. If I get to Canada, at this point, that's up in the air. So the first month in May, I was just kind of adjusting to life back in Jamaica, which wasn't that difficult because if you're from Jamaica, you're born and raised in Jamaica, you just get used to it. The only thing that I haven't gotten used to is the terrible customer care service. I hated it before I left, and then I went to Japan, which had the best customer care service in the world, and now I'm stuck with the worst, and I hate it. But everything else I love about Jamaica. I don't like the heat. The heat is crazy. If you hear a sound, that's my old fan spinning. I can't turn on this one or you wouldn't be able to hear me, but the heat is crazy. Not as bad as Japan, so I'm grateful for that. Also the food. I'm happy to be back home and eating lots of Jamaican food. I put on so much weight, especially because I came in April, which is Easter time, with Easter bun, but that was great. So in May, I just was hanging out like I was on vacation. In June, May, April, May, June. Sorry, in April, I was hanging out like I was on vacation. In May, I started to realize I need to do something with my life and was just getting kind of depressed. And then in June, I kept myself busy with the after school program. In July, I'll be working with my former boss with summer camp, Good Times Summer Camp, as a swim instructor, because I don't think many people know, but that's what I used to do back in Jamaica. On Saturdays, I'd be a swim instructor. So that's great. I get to lose all the weight I put on. But I've just been keeping busy, and because Canada doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon, I'm also applying for jobs in my field while here, either teaching or working with environmental monitoring agencies or consultancy firms. I don't know. So at the moment, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I have left my beloved Japan, and sometimes I regret it. Other times I'm like, this is where I need to be. And I've been having an amazing time just hanging out with my family, who I really, really miss, especially my nephew. I was here for my nephew's first birthday, and that was amazing. I've babysat for him like a couple times, and precious moments I cherish, hanging out with my best friends and their kids, my nieces and nephews. So it's the adjustment has been difficult, but not impossible. And I'm okay now, so I can start talking about the experience of leaving Japan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to produce a few videos about my experience in Japan, working with Interact, leaving Japan, what things you have to do. And I have to be, let me just say, I'm so grateful to Interact with that process, because it's a lot. It's crazy. But I hope that those videos can help you in any way if you too are deciding if you want to leave Japan. But that's it from me. Till next video from Jamaica.